Hello everyone and welcome back to my online biology classes for HS first year. So this is the 9th lecture on the chapter Cell, the Unit of Life, and with this lecture we will be winding up with this chapter. That is, this is the last lecture for the chapter Cell. So let's just complete the remaining portions with this lecture. So here in this lecture we are going to study about the remaining some cell organelles and important structures which are present within the cell. Okay. So the first topic that we will discuss today is about cilia and flagella. Okay. So I hope all of you have heard the names. Okay. Both of these are the structures present in the cell which help the cell to move from one place to the other. That is, they help in locomotion mainly. Clear? That is, the cilia and flagella are the locomotory structures present within the cell. Clear? Now let us see what are the basic differences between the two. Okay. So at the very beginning you can see that the definition of cilia is given. Cilia are short hair-like cell organelle extending from the surface of a living cell. So here is a diagram you can see. Okay. So you can see that very small hair-like structures are there, right, around the entire cell. So these structures are nothing but termed as cilia. Clear? They are hair-like structures or cell organelles which are extending from the surface of a living cell. Okay. So the main function of cilia is that it helps in locomotion. As I have already said, what is locomotion? Locomotion is the process of movement from one place to the other. Clear? So the cilia helps in locomotion, then feeding, circulation, etc. Clear? Now, in case of flagella, you can see that flagella are long, thread-like cell organelles which are present on the surface of a living cell. So here is a diagram. You can see that if this is a cell, then this structure, this tail-like structure is termed as flagella. So you can see the basic differences between cilia and flagella from the diagram itself. These are very small in structures. Have you seen very small hair-like structures? Okay, these are cilia. While flagellum or flagellum is the singular term for flagella. Okay, when you are talking about only one structure, you will call it as flagellum. When you will consider more than one, then you will call it as flagella. Clear? Now, if this is a cell, then this structure, this tail-like structure is termed as a flagellum. Clear? Now, its main function is what? Its main function is locomotion only. Clear? Now, one more difference you can see that the flagella are very long, right? While these are very short hair-like structures, and these are many more in number. You can see several numbers of cilia are present all over the surface of the cell. But here, in case of flagella, their number is less. Okay, it is usually less than 5 or less than 10 per cell. Clear? Now let's move to the next topic. So here we will discuss about the basic structure or the structural plan of the cilia and flagella. Clear? Now here you can see that one diagram is given. So just try to understand. Okay, here some points are given. I will read out the points and explain these points and try to match these points with the diagram. Okay, so please try to pay your complete attention. See, at the very first point it's given that a bundle of microtubules called the axonium is surrounded by a membrane that is a part of plasma membrane. At the very beginning you should have a clear idea about what is microtubule. We have already studied about microtubule. Where can you tell? While we discussed about the cytoskeleton in our last class, you had seen that the cytoskeleton is basically composed of 3 types of elongated filaments or fibers. Okay, out of that, those microtubules were one of them. Okay, so microtubules are nothing but some tube-like structures, elongated thread-like or tube-like structures which are present within the cell. Clear? And the microtubule filaments are actually made up of a protein termed as tubulin. Clear? Now, the locomotory structures, both the locomotory structures, that is cilia and flagella, are made up of the basic structure which actually makes up the anatomy of cilia and flagella are the microtubules. Clear? So a bundle of microtubules, not a single microtubule, but it is actually the microtubules are present in a bundle. Okay, so called the exonym. This structure is entire structure is called the exonym. Okay, and what is this structure? The structure is nothing but the like cilia or flagella. Okay, the so this structure is termed as nothing but exonym, and you can see that the exonym is made up of several type of blue colored tube-like structures, right? These tubes are nothing but the microtubules. Am I clear to all of you? So a bundle of microtubules, this forms a bundle, right? Called exonym. This is the exonym. Is surrounded by a membrane that is a part of plasma membrane. That is, the exonym is surrounded by a membrane which is nothing but which is originated from the plasma membrane. You can see this one is the plasma membrane of the cell, a portion of the plasma membrane of the cell which ultimately gives rise to the exonym, and exonym is nothing but the elongated structure or hair-like structure which is present in the cilia or flagella. Clear? Okay. Then see, the exonym is connected with the basal body, okay, which originates from the centrioles. So the exonym, this one is actually connected to the basal body. This basal body is nothing but an intracellular granule, okay, lying in the cell cortex. That means if you consider a cell, okay, if you consider an entire cell, then the periphery of the cell or the boundary of the cell, okay, so at that portion is termed as the cell cortex. So the basal body is that part which is present in the cortex of the cell, and from where actually the flagella or the cilia actually originates. That is, it is the base of the cilia or flagella which is attached to the cell. Clear? So this is the basal body. So the exonym is connected with the basal body, obviously, because the flagella or cilia which originates from the cell itself. So obviously it is connected with the cell with the help of basal body. Clear? Now see, each exonym are embedded with two central singlet microtubules. Okay, now just try to understand one thing. This one, this exonym, if you take a cross section, if we just take a cross section, then it will be looking something like this, right? So here with this diagram, we will be trying to understand the basic ultra structure or the structure within the cilia or flagella. Now see, in each exonym are embedded two central singlet microtubules. Here you can see two microtubules are just placed at the middle, at the central. So these two are termed as the central microtubules. Am I clear to all of you? Why they are termed as central singlet? Because they are present in single, one, one. Okay, that is two central singlet microtubules. Okay. Next, and 9 outer pairs of microtubules called doublets. Now these two are the central microtubules which are present at the center, and these are surrounded by 9 microtubules which are present at the periphery of the exonym, right? So these are 9 in number, and why they are termed as doublets? Because they are present like in a dimer. Can you see? They are present in dimer. See, 1, 2. These two dimers form a single microtubule here, and like this 9 are there. That means there are 9 doublets. Unlike this one, these are the singlets, because you can see only one, right? 1, 1. That is, they are singlet, central singlet. But they are what? They are 9 in number, and in each there are 2 microtubules. So they are doublets, right? So this arrangement is termed as 9 plus 2 arrangement of the microtubules, and this is the basic structural plan present in both the cilia and flagella. I hope you have understood. This is the exonym, that is the hair-like structure or the thread-like structure present in the which actually forms the cilia or flagella. Is this arm is termed as the exonym, and it is formed by a bundle of some tube-like structures termed as microtubules. Microtubule is formed with the help of a protein termed as tubulin. Clear? And if you take the cross section of this, then it will be looking something like this. Here you can see there's two central microtubules are there placed at the center, and it is surrounded in turn by 9 doublet microtubules which are present in the periphery. Clear? And so it is termed as 9 plus 2 arrangement is the basic arrangement for the ultrastructure of both cilia and flagella. Okay. Now let us continue with the structure of cilia and flagella. See, each doublet contains one complete microtubule called A subfiber, and attached to it is a B subfiber. That means we are talking about the doublets. So this structure is nothing but this one. Okay. So here you can see that each, can you see 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So 9 plus 2. Okay. These are the central and these are the peripheral. Now see, they're talking about this microtubules here. So each doublet is consist of two parts, right? 1, 2. So one is termed as complete microtubule called A fiber. So here this one is the A fiber or the A tubule. Have you seen this one? And this one is the B fiber or B tubule. That is, each of this 9 microtubule doublets have two parts. One is A tubule and the other one is B tubule. Am I clear to all of you? Okay. Now see, subfiber A has two dynein arms. Okay. Now what is, see, this one is the A1, right? A tubule. So each A tubule is having some blue colored structures. Can you see connected? These are nothing but the dynein arms. What is dynein? Dynein is nothing but a protein. Basically, it is a ATPase enzyme. When you will see A is written at the suffix of any of the word, you will understand that it is nothing but an enzyme. So here ATPase, when you see, dynein is a protein, okay, that is an enzyme ATPase. And what is the function of ATPase? ATPase always breaks down ATP, right? So ATPase here converts the chemical energy present in the ATP into mechanical energy, and this energy is utilized by the cilia and flagella to move or perform their functions. Clear? The main function of cilia and flagella is what? Movement. And to move, some energy is required, right? Mechanical energy. So who provides that mechanical energy? That mechanical energy is provided by this dynein arms. These are ATPase, which breaks down ATP, and the chemical energy which is stored in the ATP is converted into mechanical energy, and with the help of that mechanical energy, the cilia and flagella actually moves. I hope you have understood the main function of dynein. Okay. Now you can see each subfiber A is also connected to the central microtubules by radial spokes. So these are the radial spokes. Okay. Have you seen? So each of the doublets, okay, are connected with the central microtubules with the help of some spokes termed as radial spokes. So here it's not clearly visible that it is connected, but here you can see that these are the radial spokes with the help of which these microtubules are connected with the central microtubules. So this is the basic ultrastructure of cilia and flagella. Clear? Okay, now let us just have a look at the basic differences between the cilia and flagella. It's very easy. You can see cilia are short, hair-like cell organelle extending from the surface of a living cell. Already we have seen that the cilia are very short and hair-like in appearance, while the flagella are long, thread-like cell organelle present on the surface of the cell. That is, they are very long and thread-like in appearance. Clear? Next, cilia are short and hair-like, while flagella is long and whip-like in appearance. Next, the cilia is present in a very more number, like it may be like about hundreds of cilia present per cell, whereas the number of flagella is less. It will be less than 10 per cell. Next, the main function of cilia is it can help in locomotion, then aeration, then feeding, okay, circulation, etc., while the main function of flagella is locomotion only. let's move to the next topic, more precisely the last topic of this chapter. Okay, that is centriole and centrosome. So first of all, we will discuss about centriole and then we will move to the centrosome portion. Clear? So centrioles are nothing but some specialized cell organelles which are present in a pair always, and they are barrel shaped or cylindrical in shape and present in the cytoplasm of the animal cells, mainly near the nuclear envelope. That is, you can see here the structure is given. So these are the centriole, this is one centriole, this is the other centriole. So they are always remaining in a pair, that is 2 in number. They always are present in a pair. Okay, and they are present in the cytoplasm near the nucleus, and they are mainly found in the eukaryotic cells. Okay, and you can see here they are also formed with the help of microtubules, right? So these are the microtubules, and microtubules help to form the entire centriole. Clear? So let us just have a look at the structure. So the centriole is a cylindrical structure, okay, that is found in the eukaryotic cells, mainly in the animal cells, and it is made up of a protein known as tubulin. We have already seen that in the last slide, that the centrioles are made up of microtubules, right? And we already know that microtubules in turn are made up of a protein termed as tubulin. So that means what? The centrioles are made up of a protein termed as tubulin. Clear? Next, there are 2 pairs of centrioles in a dividing cell. That means there are 4 centrioles in a dividing cell. The diagram you can see here, this is a cell which is just going to divide. Okay, it is at the metaphase stage and it is going to divide, and in such a cell you can see that 2 pairs of centrioles are present. Here is 1 pair, there is 2, you can see 1, 2, that means 1 pair, and here also 1, 2, that is another pair. That means 2 pairs are present in a dividing cell, that is 4 centrioles are present. Clear? Which arrives as a result of centriole duplication events during cell division. That means when a cell is going to divide, just before the division, it is the centrioles actually duplicate and they creates one more pair, making it 2 pairs, so that after division each of the cell can have 1 pair of centrioles. Clear, everyone? And each centriole consists of 9 sets of microtubule triplets elements arranged in a cylindrical form. For this we will have to move to the last slide. Here we have already seen that they are formed with microtubules, right? So they are actually, there are 9 microtubules. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 microtubules are there, and each microtubule are present in a triplet form. Can you see? 3 tube-like structures are there. 1, 2, 3. So 3 microtubules are there. Okay. Which are forming a single unit of microtubule, and like this 9 microtubule units are there. Okay, so they are termed as 9 microtubule triplet. Why triplet? Because 3 tubes are present as 1 unit, and so it is termed as microtubule triplet. So there are 9 in number. So this is a cylindrical in structure and they are having 9 microtubule triplets in number. Clear? Next, let us see the function. So here you can see that the primary function of centriole is to organize the spindle fibers during cell division. What is spindle fibers? Here the yellow thread-like structures are nothing but the spindle fibers. So the primary function of centriole is to organize or form the spindle fibers which help in cell division. I hope all of you know what is the function of spindle fibers, right? You have already studied about the cell division. So the spindle fibers actually are originated from the centrioles, and they do what? They get attached to the centromere portion of the chromosome, and then they try to pull the chromosome towards the poles. Have you seen? This is the anaphase stage where the spindle fibers have attached to the centromere region of the chromosomes and they are just pulling them apart towards the poles. Clear? And ultimately they have taken them to the 2 different poles and the cell is going to divide. So this is the main function of spindle fibers, and who organizes the spindle fibers? This is the centriole. That means centriole plays a very important role during the cell division. Clear? Next, another function of centrioles is in the formation of microtubules for cilia and flagella. We have already studied about cilia and flagella, and there also we have seen that they are formed with the help of microtubules. And who actually helps in the formation of microtubules there? The centrioles actually help in the formation of microtubules present in cilia and flagella. Clear about the structure and function of centrioles? Okay. Let's move to the next topic, that is centrosome. What is centrosome? It is an organelle, cell organelle containing two cylindrical structures called centrioles along with a dense mass of protein known as pericentriolar material that surrounds it. Now this is the structure, the diagram which represents a centrosome. Clear? So what does it contain? It consists of the centriole, there is two centriole, one, two centrioles. Along with that you can see one cover is there, one ball like structure. This is nothing but termed as pericentriolar material. Okay, a protein. It's a protein, a mass of protein termed as pericentriolar material. That is the material which actually surrounds the centriole. So it is termed as pericentriolar material. So the centrioles plus this covering is and means in together termed as centrosome. It is an organelle containing two centrioles along with a dense mass of protein termed as pericentriolar material. Am I clear to all of you what is centrosome? Just try to remember, okay? Don't get confused between centrosome and centrioles. Centrioles are these two, and centrioles plus this covering of pericentriolar material gives rise to centrosome. Clear? Now see, the function of centrosome is given. The function of centrosomes is to organize the centrioles and microtubules during the process of cell division. That is, the centrosomes actually help to organize the centrioles, and the centrioles in turn help to synthesize and organize the spindle fibers. That means centrosomes also indirectly contributes towards the process of cell division. Am I clear to all of you? Okay. So with this, we have come to an end for chapter Cell, the Unit of Life. So I hope the chapter is clear to you. Please try to follow all the lectures with attention, and thank you so much for listening to all the lectures. Thank you once again. We'll come back with a new class very soon. For that, stay tuned.